Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is Fatou Bensouda. She is the Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
3 weeks ago, the US President Donald Trump authorized sanctions against the ICC. This after the court decided back in March to open a probe into crimes committed in Afghanistan by US troops and others. It's essentially a sanctions regime that includes financial and travel restrictions on ICC employees and their family. Mrs. Bensouda, this is the kind of sanctions regime the US uses against rogue regimes, against terrorists, against drug lords. Why against the ICC?
Again, thank you very much for having me. With respect to the sanctions, as I have already expressed publicly, it is very regrettable that the current administration in Washington has taken this position that it has concerning the ICC, while the judicial process was actually available to it. And what we see this as is that it's a naked attempt to interfere with the course of justice to meet certain desired outcomes, which have nothing to do with the rule of law or accountability for atrocity crimes or a judicial process. And as you have rightly said, this sanctions regime is normally designed for terrorists and drug traffickers, not for an international organization, not for lawyers, not for prosecutors, not for an international judicial body, and not for judges who are committed to fight against impunity for the world's gravest crimes. And this is what this court was created to do. So we again express regret, profound regret at the announcement of these further threats. And this, as we all have seen, these unprecedented coercive actions, including the threat of financial measures against the court and the officials of the court by the government of the United States, not least given that that country, the US, their long-standing contribution to the field of international criminal justice. We do hope that the US administration will reconsider this approach towards the ICC. This is a court that is an institution which is backed by 123 states, which is representing all regions of the world, and which aims to fight impunity for the world's gravest crimes.
Right.
We are a judicial institution, I repeat. We are doing our legitimate work. We are doing it within the strict confines of our legal mandate and judicial proceedings. And again, we are doing this work dispassionately, but also responsibly and without fear or favor. And we must be allowed to do so without influence.
Right. This has been done by executive order by the president himself, but it's a threat until now. Have they acted on this threat, or do you believe it's just merely a threat and that there will not be sanctions like travel bans or even frozen assets or things we've seen in other sanctions regime decided by the US?
Well, certainly the executive order, as you said, is we see it as a politicization of a judicial process. And we take it seriously, of course. We take it seriously. For us, we will continue to do our work. Again, we will not do politics. We are a court of law. And we are depending on the states parties of the court to support this court, to support the Rome Statute system, and to defend the court when it comes under such attacks.
Right. It also has a chilling effect, I imagine. I mean, the U.S. is the most powerful country in the world. As you said, it has played a role in international criminal prosecutions in the past. When the U.S. says the ICC is essentially a criminal organization instead of a criminal court, this has a chilling effect, doesn't it?
It does have a chilling effect. And what I want to say is that these threats and actions regime are unprecedented. And again, I would say that these tactics give rise to questions and concerns that we have amongst our staff and the officials of the court. And I said, look, as I said, we are a court of law. We are designed to meet our legal mandate, and that is what we are doing. And we will continue to stand firmly by our staff and our officials, and we will remain unwavering in this commitment to discharging independently and impartially the mandate that has been bestowed upon us by the Rome Statute and the states parties to it.
Right. There's also another set of allegations made by the U.S. Attorney General William Barr when this was announced. He said that the Justice Department, I'm quoting him, has received substantial credible information that raises serious concerns about a long history of financial corruption and malfeasance at the highest levels of the office of the prosecutor, your office. I mean, this is a very serious accusation. What's your reaction?
Look, this is news to us. As it is news to you, it is also news to us. We do not know what this is talking about.
They didn't tell you?
They have also stated, they have not told us, and we really do not know. We are trying to figure out what that means. But what I can also, and again, you will also see in that same statement that they said that Russia is apparently exerting influence in the office, on the office and the court. And again, this is news to us. You should be, again, directing this question to the administration. But what I can tell you in confidence is this. My office is undertaking our work, and we are undertaking this work with utmost professionalism by the book. And we are doing it independently and objectively. And probably that is the issue, because we are doing our work in that manner.
Right.
And the last time I checked, Russia had unsigned the Rome Statute and has refused to cooperate with the ICC, with the office, or even to acknowledge our correspondence in the context of the Georgia investigations. So I believe that these accusations of corruption and bending to influence by Russia is a great distraction. And you know that smear campaigns and distractions don't change the basic fact that my office has done a thorough job when requesting the opening of an investigation into the situation in Afghanistan. And a panel of independent professional appeals judges have authorized that investigations. There was a legal route which was available to the American administration to demonstrate genuine national proceedings into serious allegations of torture and war crimes. So instead of addressing the real issue, we are now being attacked in this manner.
Right. Do you think that this is correlated to another very controversial probe that is being discussed before the court, the Palestine issue? I mean, do you believe that this is a coordinated action led by the U.S., but also instigated probably by Israel because of your work on Palestine?
Look, I've also said this before. And it is no secret. It is no secret that the administrations in the United States and the state of Israel are coordinating their reactions and their policies towards the court. And both, we know, is with a view to achieve some set goals, which, as you have now said, we know, they appear to be aligned and are connected with these very two situations that you've mentioned that are currently before the court. That is the situation in Afghanistan and the situation in Palestine. It is not a speculation. It is part of the public record. And again, what I can say with full confidence is that both sides know, or ought to know, that we are a professional office doing our job dispassionately with no agenda other than honorably fulfilling our legitimate duties under the Rome Statute. And again, with respect to Israel, they are fully aware, and this is, again, I would say, a matter of public record, that during the preliminary examination phase, we regularly interacted with Israeli representatives, as we did with the Palestinians. And we have said that this process was helpful to our independent and impartial assessment of the legal criteria. Let me just repeat again, Mark, that the court is non-political, and it acts strictly within the legal framework and the jurisdictional competence that has been bestowed upon it by the Rome Statute.
Right. I want to go quickly to a case, the Gbagbo case, the former Ivorian president Laurent Gbagbo. He was acquitted back in January 2019. You're appealing the acquittal, but many observers believe that you're doing this in vain because the case is lost and you know it.
But what happened in March, the acquittal last year, we believe, and this is what we have submitted to the judges, we believe that the majority decision, because there was one judge who was against that decision in the chamber, the same chamber, but the majority had, the acquittal decision was not in compliance with the safeguards under Article 74. We believe, and we've submitted this to the chamber, that the judges did not have clarity on the appropriate standard of proof for a no case to answer proceedings, according to which their evidence, this evidence, was assessed. And we have asked the appeals chamber to reverse the acquittal decision and declare a mistrial, thereby leaving it in the hands of the office to decide on the future course of the case. It is not about success. It is not about failure. It's about justice and ensuring that justice is done. And I, as a prosecutor and as a prosecuting office, I appealed the judgment on those bases because I believe that legal errors have been committed, which has to be corrected by the appeals chamber.
And so you're confident in the last word that you're going to win that appeal?
As again, it's not a question of winning and losing. I think if we take it in that light, then we really lose the essence and the purpose why this court, the ICC, was set up. It is not about winning and losing. It is about ensuring that justice is done.
Fatou Bensouda, that's all we have time for. I want to thank you very much for being with us here on the France 24 interview, and thank you for watching it.